And so essentially what this will be is on that project, we'll have quite a few interviews clipped into there based off of different questions and whatnot. Like we've done people, like former members, we've done current members, all that kind of good stuff. The questions are very broad, which leaves you a lot of room to just kind of ramble and do your thing. If at any point you feel like you need to stop and think, or you say something that you didn't like that you said, it can be cut out. So it's not like it's the end of the world, because we're not going to play the whole thing through. And also it's nice to have these for when people retire. I'd like to give you a flash drive with it, or play it at your ceremony, or do whatever you got to do. So make sure that I'm recording. We should be good to go. All right. And then at this entire time, you'll be looking at me. The camera's just recording you, kind of like in an interview setting. So we'll start off with what's your name, rank, and how long have you been with Burleson Fire Department?
My name is Rob Moore. I'm the City Fire Marshal for the Fire Department. And I've been with Burleson paid since 2009, so 17 years.
Yeah.
But I was a volunteer before that for 3 years, so I started volunteering in 2006. So I've been with Burleson in one way or the other for 20 years now.
And we'll kind of get right into it. How did this department shape who you are as a person?
So I came to this department from being a police officer, and one of the big things that really made me want to go over to the other side was the brotherhood. And it really was, because, you know, as a police officer, you just were kind of solo, you went out on your own. But whenever I started volunteering here, I mean, it was tight-knit. I mean, it was your brothers. Like, I got to know the firefighters here as a volunteer better than I knew people up at the other place for 10 years. So I knew that this was the career that I wanted to be. And also at the exact same time all this is happening, my son was born very premature. And watching the way that he was nursed to health by the doctors, nurses, and staff, it just really inspired me. It really did. And that really made me want to latch on to the medical side of being a firefighter. So actually I got my EMT license first before I got my firefighter certification. Yeah, but then as soon as I got both of them, they just happened to have 9 positions open up for Burleson, because they're opening Station 3 soon, and I was able to get on at that time.
Awesome. And since you've gotten on up until this point, do you feel like this department has shaped who you are in many different ways? And so elaborate.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely was more center focused before coming here. You know, you don't do as much as a team. You know, you say, okay, well, everybody up there is the same team. Well, everybody here, your crew is your team, your family. And that changed the way that I looked at a lot of things, because, you know, doing things for everybody, for the crew, and not doing things for myself, and, you know, in a selfish manner. Learning how to cook. I really learned how to cook once I was on shift here. And it made me a more well-rounded person, because I was learning the fields that I love to do, and I was learning to be more of a team player, and then just getting to experience all the other things.
Absolutely. Awesome. And how would you describe the bond between those here at the Burleson Fire Department?
You know, honestly, I can say to this day, like I've been around other fire departments a lot, and I still think Burleson has one of the tightest knit sets of brother and sisterhood. That really does. I think that we have such a cohesion here. Everybody's fighting the same fight. You know, we believe in the same objectives, and I really think like the relationships that everybody builds here, and I think it's been this way since day one. That like they're real relationships, you know, and people really stick together here.
Awesome. Good deal. And has that bond helped, kind of back to our last question, shape who you are, kind of change your thinking from when you initially got on?
Yeah, because you start to look at everything from a different perspective, being more helpful to other people, and especially when it comes to public service, because as public service, you're a public servant, and you need to have a servant's heart to be able to help other people. And really being a part of the crew, you start to see how you can help other people in your crew, or they help you. And as a matter of fact, whenever we went through that premature birth of my son, I was still a volunteer, and the fire department showed up for me. So they came to my house. They brought me groceries and they brought me dinners and everything, and I was just a volunteer. So it just made us one big family.
Anybody specific you'd like to thank from that?
Yeah. Mike Jones, when I was a volunteer, he really, I worked a lot on his shift as a volunteer, and, during that time, like he really, stuck his neck out for me and helped me a lot. But then after I was hired here, Chief Jacobs and Lieutenant Hobbs, or Day Chief Hobbs, sorry. Yeah, they were great. They really went out, helped me a lot throughout my career. And of course, Chief Davis. Of course, at the time he was, I think it was Captain Davis at the time, but he definitely, around that same time, he really became a mentor of mine.
Awesome. So, in your time here, this is a two-part question, so we'll start with the first part. In your time here, how has the department changed?
Quite a bit. And I'm not going to necessarily say it's easy to say, yeah, it's changed for the better. Well, I think that's misleading, because this is a great department. And so, yeah, we're making ourselves better, but it's changed in a way, like it's more professional, more serving to the public, more capacity to be able to, so I always knew that we were a good department, but it's just expanding that, right? From the stations to the coverage to the personnel to the abilities, the medical abilities that we can have now. You'd be able to run our own ambulances and go. Even there was a time we weren't really truly ALS. We were intermediates. Everybody was an intermediate or basic. So, just over the years, it's been a steady stair step to making us a better organization.
And what do you hope stays the same about the Burleson Fire Department?
Definitely the brotherhood and the sisterhood, the core values that really hold everybody together, the esprit de corps. It really has always been that way. I truly remember everybody, and it wasn't just you and your crew, even though that was the best, that was your tightest circle, but the other crews, the other stations. Everybody knew everybody, and you could sit there and just name anybody that was, from the department, and you could call any one of them at any given time, and they would come and help you. And you knew they would. You would do the same for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you could give advice to either a new firefighter or a firefighter in general, Burleson firefighter, what would that piece of advice be?
That piece of advice would be to be patient, to have a serving attitude, like a servant's heart. And I say patient because I think that some folks get into a trap of nothing happens in a year or two, so I'm going to go somewhere else or try something else. But, somebody told me a long time ago, they said just be patient. They said Burleson has always taken good care of us. And they have. Absolutely. They absolutely have to this day. That's the best advice I ever got. Just be patient, have a servant's heart, and work as hard as you can.
I love it. So you've worked for this department. This department's part of the community, and also as a member of the community. What does this department mean to the community?
This department, I truly believe, has a special place in this community's heart as not just a governmental function, right? And not just this is our fire department. I think that we do so many programs that are deeply embedded, like on a grassroots level, and we have so many people, our personnel, that have such great relationships with, folks here in Burleson, who live here in Burleson, grew up here in Burleson. It's not just a, hey, we got a cool department, or that, like, this is our department. This department is a physical, like, it's a physical and spiritual part of the city that I think has such a deep bond and a deep connection, that you don't see that in a lot of cities, right? Because some cities, it's just a governmental function. But here in Burleson, we have a strong relationship with the community.
Awesome. And do you think that affects our relationship with them?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's about building trust. You can't build trust overnight. Trust, and that goes with the way that using taxpayers' money, the way that we respond to our local residents, the integrity that we have, while we're in their homes, how we're taking care of their loved ones, and that kind of a thing is built over years, right? So it's built over years, and so it's where we are is because the people that came before us have the same attitude and the same compassion. So we've been able to just keep developing that relationship over years. It's 100 years now. So it's been, such a very valuable and deep relationship.
Absolutely. And last question, and you can think about this one for a little bit if you need to, but describe the Burleson Fire Department in one word and why.
One word.
And you can look it up even if you want to.
Let's see. Man, that's a good one. Because I kind of have an idea.
Do your thing. Yeah, look up synonyms or whatever you got to do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like it.
All right, go ahead. Still recording.
All right.
So if you could describe the Burleson Fire Department in one word, what would that word be and why?
Okay, so it's on our uniform, and that's honor. Because
Kobe just came over here looking for you. You want to tell me busy?
2 more minutes. That's it.
Oh, sorry,
I
Dad.
get
No, you're
I'm
good.
sorry.
and a big shout out to Chief Jacobs. The word I would use to describe is honor, and I would use that in many different variations because it's an honor for us to serve the citizens, and we have honor doing the right thing. So we are men and women of honor. The department has the honor of serving the citizens. So it works hand in hand. I think that word summarizes duty and integrity and trust, because honor is all of that. And if you have honor, if you have a men and women of honor, a department of honor, the citizens share that with us. So I think that's what I would, one word I would use to describe it.
Absolutely. I love it. Any closing comments? Anything else you want to say?
No, I think just I truly love this organization, the community that we serve. You know, I think that everybody here wants to do the right thing for the best reasons. And it's just like that saying, iron sharpens iron. I really believe that. I think that we have good people here in leadership and in the rank and file, and we all have the same vision and passion, and we want that to we want that to drive us. So I think that, you know, we've got one of the best departments, if not the best department, you know, in the state.
Awesome. I love it. That's it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You betcha.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Are those the new fire marshal rigs?
Yeah, in theory.
In theory.